Hello, I'm Monica Reinagel. Welcome to the Nutrition Diva podcast. Today we're talking personalized nutrition, specifically using microbiome analysis to create personalized dietary recommendations. Today's episode is supported by Holiday Inn Club Vacations, the perfect spot for a family vacation or a group retreat. There are 23 luxurious Holiday Inn Club Vacation resorts all across the United States. They feature spacious villas with separate bedrooms, fully equipped kitchens, living rooms, private patios, and balconies. And select resorts offer premium signature collection villas with upgraded amenities. You'll find championship golf, sparkling pools, delicious restaurants, and more. For more information, visit hcv.vacations/diva. That's hcv.vacations/diva. For those with diabetes or pre-diabetes, managing blood sugar levels is a critically important part of preventing the progression of this disease and avoiding serious complications. But even for healthy people, keeping your blood sugar in a healthy range can help reduce the risk of obesity and the risk of developing diabetes. Up until recently, the advice for managing your blood sugar has focused on the nutritional composition of foods. Specifically, you're advised to pay attention to the quantity and the quality of the carbohydrates in your diet. Tracking quantity is really pretty straightforward. You can simply count the grams of carbohydrates. Assessing the quality of the carbohydrates in your diet gets a little bit more nuanced. You might take into account how much sugar or fiber a food contains, for example. The problem is that two different foods with the same amount of carbohydrate or sugar or fiber can still produce very different glycemic responses in your body. A white potato, for example, might have the same amount of carbohydrate and fiber as a serving of white pasta, but the potato is likely to cause a higher spike in blood sugar. This was the problem that the Glycemic Index hoped to solve by attempting to factor in the variable known as the human digestive process. Researchers fed human volunteers all kinds of different foods and then measured their blood sugar levels afterward. And they used this data to produce the Glycemic Index, which represents the average rise in blood sugar in humans in response to various foods. As a final step, multiplying that glycemic index number by the amount of carbohydrate in the serving size gives you the glycemic load, which is a measure of both quality and quantity. For decades now, our best tools for managing blood sugar have been counting carbs or glycemic load, and studies have shown that both are moderately effective in controlling blood sugar and improving outcomes in people with or at risk of diabetes. But there was still a big problem. The glycemic index of a food represents the average blood sugar response to that food among all the individuals tested. But if you dig into the data, you'll see that those averages represent a very wide range of individual responses. The glycemic index of a food might be 58, but the range of individual responses included in that average might be anywhere from 47 to 69. You see the problem here. Not only can foods with a similar amount of carbohydrate produce wildly different blood sugar responses, but the identical food can produce wildly different blood sugar responses in different individuals. Trying to control your blood sugar by counting carbs or even counting glycemic load is a little like trying to buy the perfect house based only on the price and the zip code. You might get lucky and end up in your dream home, but there's an awful lot of room for error. Why is there so much variation in our individual responses to foods? Well, part of the answer appears to reside in the gut. The billions of bacteria that reside in our intestines have a surprisingly big say about what goes on in our bodies, including our glycemic response to food. And scientists have now found that knowing the makeup of your intestinal bacteria can help you predict your individual blood sugar response to foods. Let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. Support for today's show comes from Bare Minerals, creators of clean beauty. Bare Minerals believes that makeup and skincare should make your skin better, not just better looking. And that's why their best-selling original foundation is made with just 5 ingredients, all minerals. They're good for skin formulas with proven performance. It's clean without compromise, so upgrade to clean beauty products. Use the foundation finder at bareminerals.com to find your perfect match, and then get 20% off with the promo code DIVA. Bare Minerals, it's the power of good. We also got support this week from Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs. Pete and Jerry's has done one thing for generations: produce eggs that you can be proud to serve your family. Their small, single, family-owned farms around the country take pride in raising hens simply and providing healthy, organic, free-range eggs. You can learn more about their farms and the families that work there by visiting peteandjerrys.com. And you'll also find delicious hand-picked recipes to find the best ways to prepare those free-range organic eggs. They've got sweet, savory, even keto-friendly options. There's something for everyone. Pete and Jerry's believes in small-scale, humane organic farming because it's the right way to farm, and they want you to feel good about what you buy. The next time you're in the egg aisle, find Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs and check out peteandjerrys.com for recipes and more. That's Pete and Jerry's, GERRYS.com. So can your microbiome reveal your ideal diet? Researchers from the Weizmann Institute in Israel analyzed the gut microbiome from 800 subjects. And they also hooked these folks up to continuous blood glucose monitors and tracked everything they ate. And they also collected blood samples and information about the subject's health history, sleep, and exercise habits. Then they loaded all of this data, millions of data points, into a computer and used artificial intelligence or machine learning to develop an algorithm that would predict an individual's response to foods. The next step was a double-blind study in which half the people followed a dietary prescription generated by this algorithm, and the other half followed standard carbohydrate counting method recommended by the American Diabetes Association. And they found that people following a personalized dietary prescription, the one generated by this algorithm, had more success controlling their blood sugar than others who were simply counting carbs. And these results were then reproduced in a second study conducted at the Mayo Clinic. This technology has now been licensed by a commercial company called Day 2, and for $500, you can get an analysis of your microbiome. Spoiler alert, there is poop involved. Based on your analysis, they will then provide personalized dietary advice for managing your blood sugar. Using their app or their website, you can look up virtually any food or combination of foods and get a score that predicts your blood sugar response to that food. This is definitely an important step toward improving healthcare by providing more personalized recommendations, but there are still some gaps in the research. Day 2 promotes this test primarily to diabetics and their doctors. So far, however, the only published results are from studies using healthy individuals. But in addition to the controlled studies, the company has collected and analyzed data from thousands of users, including diabetics. The results reported by their users, while maybe not publishable as research data, nonetheless suggest that the approach is effective for people with diabetes. More importantly, controlled studies involving pre-diabetic and diabetic subjects are apparently underway, and the results are due to be published later this year. So here's the bottom line on this. If you're concerned about your blood sugar, I'd suggest you start by paying attention to the quantity and quality of carbohydrates in your diet. And losing weight is also a surefire way to improve glucose control, which is why paying attention to calories can also help. But if you found that these more conventional approaches are not working well enough and you have $500 to invest, I think there's enough science here to justify an N-of-1 experiment. Now, keep in mind that changes in your diet or your blood glucose levels are likely to result in changes in your microbiome. And for this reason, the company suggests that you retest yearly to get updated recommendations. One final word of caution. There are several different companies selling personalized diets based either on an analysis of your gut microbiome or DNA. They don't all have the same level of scientific validity to back up their claims or their methodology. My qualified recommendation of Day 2 does not necessarily extend to other similar products or services. I have no doubt that the science and the technology is going to continue to evolve. There's going to be a lot more products on the market, and I will keep you up to date with those developments as they happen. You'll find a transcript of today's show along with links to the research that I reviewed at nutritiondiva.quickanddirtytips.com. And next week, I'm going to be talking with registered dietitian Natalie Stevens about some new research on how to conquer food cravings. Be sure to subscribe to the Nutrition Diva podcast in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss that. Our show is produced by Nathan Sems, edited by Karen Hertzberg, and our team at Macmillan Audio also includes Michelle Margulis, Morgan Ratner, Emily Miller, Kate Hines, and our director, Kathy Doyle. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week.